Sometimes when creating a web page, we have to work with a piece of content which is a bit too long to display directly, but not long enough to become a separate page. In this short video, I'm showing you how to add a Read More button link in Divi. Once you click the button, it will reveal a hidden Divi section. It's a super quick and perfect solution for hiding additional content. Hi, my name is Ania and my goal here is to help you build beautiful websites. In this short walkthrough, I will show you how to use a tiny bit of custom JavaScript, a jQuery code, which will add that read more functionality to your Divi site. If a website visitor clicks the Read More button, it will reveal a hidden section with additional content and hide the button itself. So it won't be a read more, read less kind of action, just a simple read more, here's the content, that's it. So let me show you what I've come up with. Here is a simple page structure directly in the Divi builder, but two parts here are important. We have to have a way to target our button here. That's why in the button module settings, I've added a CSS class of DL read more. Okay, so that's the first part. And our section, because that gray the section with a gray background here is the part that I would like to hide initially and only show that once someone clicks that read more button. So I do also need to have a way to target that, and that's why here I've added an ID, not a class, because with ID that button click will also scroll to that section. Okay, so I would show it and scroll page to that content once the button is clicked. So the ID here I used is more. You can use whatever works for you, but this is the part that's needed here. Okay, I will also show you a version of that without the scroll at the end, but I think the scroll would be the most common action you would want here. Okay, now first, we have to hide the section initially. We could use the builder settings to do that, but we can also just simply use a tiny bit of CSS. Now, I will add a code module, maybe here. And inside my code module, actually, let's move that right like this. Inside that code module, I will add a style tag. So the CSS I will write here, it doesn't need to go inside the code module, right? It can go to your theme options or your style sheet. It's just so that it's easier for me right now to show you this. So to hide that content, I can target that section by its ID. So more, and then simply use display none. But the problem is that I would need to remove that CSS every time I want to edit something in that section. So the cool trick I would like to show you first is that we can actually use different CSS on the front end and not target elements inside the builder. Because if I show you here, if I open the page inspector, that whole builder content, the page you see here is actually placed inside the iframe. So this, all like the page content, like here we see that's actually an iframe. So inside we have HTML tag and our body tag, and our body includes one additional CSS class which is not visible when viewing the page directly. So that's the ETFB CSS class right here. And just to show you, I have that same page opened, and here on the body container, we don't see that ETFB CSS class, right? So instead of targeting, let's close that, instead of targeting more ID, we can target that ID, but only when it's not inside a body container with a class of etfb. So body without that class, not, and then in round brackets we can specify a CSS class. So if it's not etfb, that would be our parent, then the more section would be hidden. If I save that, you can see that in the builder, I can see my section, but here if I refresh on the front end, it's hidden. So that's what I wanted. I wanted to hit that section initially on page load for website visitors, right? But I do want to keep this accessible in the visual builder for me to edit it, right? Okay, now the next part we need is jQuery code. So it's super simple. Let me show you. I will place my JavaScript code inside a script tag here. So opening and closing script tag. You can copy that script tags and place them in your theme options integration tab. If that is something you would want to use across different pages of your site, it can go to the theme options, and then you don't need to use that code module on different page. But if it's only on one specific page, you can use a code module just like I'm doing right here. So first we need a jQuery document ready function here, right? So jQuery something like that, and here. Okay, so inside that jQuery document, so once the document is ready, we want to target our button and assign a different click event to it. So to target it, we can use the $sign now, and inside quotes, we would see we would need to target that CSS class I've added to the read more button, which is DL read more. Okay, so that's my target. Now what I want to do, I want to attach a click event. So on click, we would perform a function. So click function like this, and here we can do whatever you like, right? So it's as simple as showing the section with ID more. So another thing we want to target is our section with ID more, and we can use show, which would fade it in, or slide down, which is a different show method we can use in jQuery, which would slide it from the top, and I think that works well here. So slide down like this. Okay, so that's the one thing I want to do, slide down that section, but also I want to hide the read more button because there is no use for it afterwards. So as I mentioned, super simple, read more, okay, here's your section, and that's it. There's no, I want to hide the read more. So I could target it the same like with that selector, but since I'm already inside the function that targets it, I can use this selector. So $sign and then this, hide. Okay, let's save that, save my Visual Builder settings, and refresh the page here. Okay, now I clicked read more, and now the browser scrolled to that new section and hid my read more button. If I would have some navigation, Divi would handle that for me and it would scroll to a correct place, right? So super simple, like 2 lines of JavaScript that will give you that result. And if you do not want to scroll, that is a tiny bit more complicated because if that read more, just to show you, if that read more wouldn't have a more link like this, just a simple hashtag for an empty link, and we would leave it like that. Now if I refresh, well, sorry, you can't see it because that's the first section, but it would scroll up to the top. Like clicking a link with a hash symbol basically scrolls you all the way up to the top of your page. And this isn't what you would want exactly. Just to maybe to show you, let's add that. Let's move that to the top here, just to show you what I mean. Now I saved, refresh. Okay, so here's some content at the top, and now here's my read more, and it's scrolled all the way to the top. The section is visible, but it's not there. So to prevent that scroll to top on anchor click, we would need to modify our jQuery code. So here's my code module. So for that click function, we would need to also use the prevent default method. And for that, to access that click event, we need to add a parameter to our function. So for example, E as event, and then target that with E prevent default. The prevent default method basically does what it sounds like. It removes the default action that would be performed for that event. So for that click event, when we click that link, by the default action is that it would go to the selected URL and hashtag would be the top of our page, and we don't want that, so that should fix it. Now let's just check. Refresh the page. Okay, so here's my content, and now my read more button, it just showed me the section without the scroll. I think you would probably still want a scroll, but if not, that's how you would need to modify the code. So that's all. I hope it was clear, and I hope you'll find it useful. Do let me know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.